All right, welcome back to another episode of What's the Deal with Airline Food, the comedy commentary podcast. I'm your host, Etay Kuperman, and every week I bring on a new guest and we review two comedy sets, one that I picked and one that they picked. What qualifies me to do this? Well, I've been doing stand-up for about 5 months now. One time I got paid $10 to do a 5-minute set, and one time I was supposed to get paid $20 to do a 10-minute set, but the show got canceled because nobody showed up. Anyways, without further ado, we got a really special guest for you this week, one of London's biggest comics, Yvonne Baltag. Yvonne, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I don't think that big part is important there, but I like comedy, guys. Stand-up comedian, been doing that for 6 years now, and I run a couple shows here in London, Ontario. We do a bunch of open mics here at the Poacher's Arms and Scott's Corner, and every Wednesday at Fox and the Fiddle.
Yvonne's the host of the one at Fox and Fiddle.
Yeah, I do host the show, and by the way, I actually attended that comedy show with you that time when it got canceled.
We were both supposed to get paid $20, and then neither of us got paid.
Then you didn't get paid, but unless you had an exam next day.
Yeah,
That's the worst thing ever, man.
I know.
It's like you got the double negative.
I know. I came out there, I got no show, I paid for the Uber home.
If you pay for the Uber home and probably paid more than you're about to get paid for.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. The life of a comic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get started with our first set. Our first set is a comedy set by a comedian called Katie Hannigan. Katie Hannigan's from New York. She's relatively underground compared to the comics we reviewed last episode, but she's done comedy festivals including Just for Laughs, Women in Comedy, the Woodstock Comedy Festival. She performs regularly at all the major New York comedy spots. She's actually also been on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert one time, but we're going to talk about her set, her Live at the Apartment set back in 2014. For those of you who don't know, Live at the Apartment is like a YouTube show where they just kind of, bring in comics and they do 10-minute sets, and it's literally in an apartment in New York. And it's actually a really cool venue. But, Ivan, what'd you think about the set?
I think it's pretty well because I especially like the underground comedy because that's actually what I'm a big fan of underground scene, and also I find it very interesting the house scenes because I've run a couple shows at my house.
Yeah.
And they were pretty successful. I've done a couple house shows back in at West, and they always turn out pretty well because the young first of all, if you go to a bar, you have to pay for alcohol, but at a house show you can bring your liquor, relax, you bring your pillow.
Yeah, well, the venue's so cool.
It's so good too.
Yeah. Just imagine performing in front of all your friends in such a cozy kind of place,
your friends too, and it's cozy, and you get to know people after a show, and you get to discuss about your comedy sets around the city too, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, well, the set that Katie did, this was the early days at Live at the Apartment, and if you watch the set on YouTube, I think the camera goes black at one point for a 10-second period. The mic's kind of weird.
The mic is weird. The sound wasn't there, but the jokes were there.
The jokes were there. Yeah. She's really subtle. Do you know what I mean? She's very subtle.
She's very she doesn't rush into things. She looks like she's pretty but the punchlines were great.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought a lot of stuff, it kind of not flies over your head, but it can fly over your head if you're not paying attention. You know?
You gotta she's kind of comedy. You actually gotta pay attention to her, because I find she's not a very energetic comedian.
Yeah.
So she you have to listen to what she's saying. Basically, she's very melancholic.
She's clever. She's clever.
She's very clever, but she's also when the punchline is coming too, because she changes her voice tone all the time.
Yeah. She was squeaking, kind of going up and down.
Yeah.
And she'll take the mic away from her face and start yelling almost. And it's such a big contrast because she's a small girl, obviously, no?
Yeah.
And she's talking so calm, and then she starts yelling and squeaking, and it's good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, me too, man. It was it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
No. And plus you can hear some female perspective because she's a female comic, and it's very interesting to see that in comics from different sex genders because I actually want to learn what's going on in girls' heads sometimes, and it's how do they think and how do they sometimes to be honest, funny.
Yeah,
funny stuff.
I think a lot of women comics will kind of play into the stereotypes, and be almost self-deprecating and like in a very like typical kind of way, like the Amy Schumer kind of way that got them famous for some reason. But she's completely different. Her self-deprecation was completely opposite to what I expected, you know? Like she was making fun of herself for like there was the rat one in the joke about the rats in her apartment.
Or about her like finding a date about like because her mom wants her to date a doctor, and she would be like, I don't go looking for doctors except like when I have a doctor appointment. Yeah, that was pretty clever too.
Yeah, she has one joke about how she got prescribed medication and how it's like $100. Obviously, she's in the States and she's like, oh, I can't afford that $100. That's what she opened up her Stephen Colbert set with. Because like it's like
it's like very like people can relate to it in the United States. So it's like it's a very good thing to drop there on people, because they'll be like, oh, we live in such a crazy good economy country, but we cannot like figure out our healthcare system.
Just laugh off your pain. Yeah, she was good like that.
It's like, I'm here to just like comedy's medicine. Like, look at me. It's good.
No, I know. She was actually a kindergarten teacher before she quit her job and started to pursue stand-up comedy, which is like obviously incredible. But
it was good. I feel like if you're like a public speaker, like somewhere, even with the kids, because kids are the funniest too. Like, because I grew up with like babysitting my brothers, and like I would watch cartoons with them and make like silly jokes, and that's like where the most humor comes from. Like that childish love that helps you like to go through your day, or like if you like working with kids, for example, and you're always in public, right? You have to entertain them. Kids constantly want to get entertained, and you know, that's a big part of comedy.
Yeah, it's like it's always crazy to hear a lot of these like comics jobs before they go kind of big, you know, and they'll talk about
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I was gonna say like even like Bill Burr was talking about how he was like in back of warehouses like stacking furniture, you know?
Yeah. Dude, what's the weirdest show you ever done? What was your show?
The weirdest show?
Yeah.
It was actually the one you hosted at CJ's Lounge.
Oh shit.
When you hosted one of the hookah lounge, it was just like it was so dark in there.
Also, there was no audience, man.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? Like,
yeah.
It's because you haven't done it for a while.
Yeah,
right?
I took a couple weeks off. But
yeah, like I've done it in the strip clubs, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
One like. I don't want to talk about it, but I've done it.
Fair. I've done a strip club,
Yeah, I've done a strip club, but like I've done a couple. I done like this show, with a hypnotist comedian.
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest crowd ever, man.
Yeah. It's still it's a good experience.
But like it's like you gotta go through that stuff to get to the point where those old New York comedians get, because like stage is everything.
Yeah, I know. Like you gotta be able to win your crowd over, no matter who you're performing for, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
You gotta definitely be be there.
But that's like I was actually gonna talk about like specifically with Katie Hannigan. She was kind of not bombing at the beginning, but it wasn't that. It didn't look like the crowd was that into it, and she kind of kept going and she kept her cool. Yeah. And then, but then, like the whole crowd was like, so into it, which is like,
well, yeah, she's got like a certain flow to her jokes. Like, she went there. She's like, she started awkward, but she went there, and first thing she said it was
Well, she was making fun of the host, right?
Yeah, she was making fun of the host. She was like, what was she saying?
She was saying like the host comes up and then she's like, he's so gay. He dated my friend. He's so
gay. And I'm like, I think that's like pretty funny. It's like it's awesome. So spontaneous. Yeah. It's like you don't expect that. Like you don't. Like, it's always funny to do stuff like this in the beginning because it gets the crowd, like, a bit weirded, but at the same time, it's a weird person on the stage. And
I try that every time.
You can be so likable after that, too.
I try that all the time. I try to, like, start with something new or something that kind of relates, and then sometimes it's gone so badly. Yeah. I remember one time I made fun of the host because the host, Aaron, was talking about his girlfriend. And I said, "Oh, I can't believe Aaron has a girlfriend," or something like that. And the whole crowd was silent.
Yeah.
And it was
like, some of them don't hit.
Yeah.
Like, like one time, like for example, my joke when I go up and I start is like, "I smell like soup."
Yeah.
It just always kills because like it's just such a spontaneous thing to say.
Yeah.
Like I can just go there like one time and be like, "Pickles are good for you," and start like, "What's the deal with airplane food?"
Yeah.
And like it's just. Like those like silly things are always funny.
Yeah,
like,
but that was
just silly.
I just remember seeing her clip doing that, and right when she started making fun of the host, I'm like, okay, like I'm ready. This is gonna be a good set. Or that was my thinking at least, you know. I don't know. I really liked it.
Plus, like, it's New York City too, which is the greatest city to do
stand up. Yeah.
Stand up, pretty much.
Well, yeah. Well.
There's good venues everywhere, but like if you can like get like some showcases in New York, that's always pretty nice.
Yeah, of course. But overall, out of 10, what do you rate the special?
I would 7.5.
7.5?
Not really my comic there, but
yeah.
she's funny, and that's the 7.5 goes to all too funny. Like,
yeah,
that's what it is. Like, it's not my style of comedy. Like I like she came out like because she talks about personal stuff, but I like when people throw like cultural references in there, which like Andrew Schultz comes into the play after, like, which is the second comic, my pick we're gonna discuss. But
I like it almost when it's not cultural at all, when it's all about you, kind of. There's good parts of both. There's good parts of both, but I always appreciate it.
I feel like people should like like my favorite stuff is like when people bring kind of like world issues and what world deals with it too. Like I kind of like that too. Like keep it to update, and because like people read about that stuff all the time, and you want to bring that in the comedy too, because people always have information in their brain, and but like some of them like I would just hear something funny about it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Sometimes my dad goes to me, he's like, "Oh, you make Putin jokes. Let's make some Russian jokes." You know? And then like I try to push into that because like I have an accent and I have to. Yeah, I'll be stupid not to use that.
No, I know what you mean.
When
you
started,
gotta use what you got, right?
Yeah. When I started comedy, I wasn't using that much of my accent. I wasn't pushing into that much, but now I'm just like, man, I can like come up with some funny stuff about it.
Yeah, no, obviously. Well, you have to. Comics will talk about what they know. You know, that's kind of the main thing. But what I was gonna say, I really like the set. I really like it a lot. I'm actually a big fan not a big fan, but I'm a fan of Katie Hannigan for sure.
You're in love.
She is a cutie. I'd give this set an 8.1.
All right.
8.1. It was good. It wasn't like amazing. Didn't blow me away, but it was really it was above average for me. Anyways, let's get to our second set. Our second set is by a comedian called Andrew Schultz, and Andrew Schultz is absolutely blowing up at the moment. He's getting huge.
He's big now, yeah.
Yeah, he's a New York comic. From New York, yeah. He got his start doing MTV shows in like 2010 to 2015. Shows like Guy Code, Jobs That Don't Suck, Girl Code, stuff that's kind of like.
That's the thing. Like I've never watched that.
I only knew this because I looked at his Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Yeah, he's released a couple of stand-up specials, including a 30-minute crowd work special, completely off the top of his head, earlier this year. He's the host of the Brilliant Idiots podcast, along with Charlemagne the God,
which is a good podcast.
Yeah. It's not they got some good guests and stuff. It's like they get guests and like we're not.
And also he was on Joe Rogan like recently too.
Yeah. Well, he went by himself once, and he went back with Charlemagne. But anyways, well, we're gonna talk about his 2017 self-made special 441. The first thing I want to talk about, the concept for the special. He literally goes to 4 different stand-up comedy clubs in one night and post, and that's what the special is. It's all 4 of the sets at the 4 different clubs and the cab rides in between, and that's amazing.
Yeah, basically that's like he shows the true life of a comic.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like
he says he gets a pizza slice before a show, down some brewskis, and he's just like, and he's a very unique comic. Like it's great because he's done it on YouTube, and then Ray Romano came up with the same special on Netflix. I'm not saying anything, but like it's interesting to see that style. I like it. It's just so natural and original.
Yeah.
It's like there's no curtain opening up. There's no theater. It's just a club where.
And that's the best way to do comedy.
Also, it's so humble.
Yeah,
right?
It is. That's the best way to do comedy. Like you watch these big specials, and they're like thousands of people, hour long. Hour long is. I don't know.
It's too
long.
It's too long. Also, like Schultz had this theory where, like, if he's gonna put like short videos up, people are just gonna watch it more because nobody wants to see 1 hour special. Like
I know
some people like I quit in between sometimes. Like when I see like an hour special, I'll be like I'll finish tomorrow.
Even if it's a comic I love, it's like an hour long, and anyone gets kind of like worn out. It's tough to like watch someone speak for that long in a row. But the 5-minute sets, and like also the fact that
as a point, you gotta get sharper too when you do shorter sets. Your jokes have to be like sharp.
Yeah. Also, when you're performing at places like these the main clubs in New York, they're not going to see you. They're going to see comedy. So if you bomb, you bomb. Like it's not for sure.
Dude,
Like
it is very like. it's not as a tough city to do comedy, but like you gotta be funny.
Yeah, you definitely have to be
like
funny.
especially like if you go to Cellar, like your a rate of the jokes per second, like you gotta like bang all the time. Yeah, and New York is a fast-paced city, and I love that. They love that. They love that wit.
Yeah,
they love that fast comedy, man. Yeah.
Well, it's like I just want to say like I love Andrew Schultz. He's one of definitely my favorite comics. I actually I was gonna say one of the first sets or specials I ever listened to was his 551, which was the sequel to this one. It's a little bit longer. It's 5 places, but it's the same premise. You know, like 5 different places, and it was like he was. One thing I like about him, I don't know if you agree with this, but he'll say things that you don't want to laugh at, but you kind of laugh at because he's kind of true. You know.
Also, like but also like let's say he didn't put his specials like on a big net. It was just YouTube.
Yeah.
Which got pretty popular, but because like he knows how to capture certain audience members, and also a great crowd worker.
Yeah, he
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's something that like I would love to learn how to do. Just he can like talk to the crowd anytime.
Yeah,
and just so quick sharp on his head, you know.
Also, like he brings like some edgy stuff in, like which is culture related too. And the thing is about him, he's like so good at it that he's not actually persecuted about it.
Yeah.
He's actually likable. It's like, he says something, but then people are there to see his humor.
Yeah.
Because that's what they love.
Well, he's so transparent about it. He's like, I'm Andrew Schultz. I'm out there. I say what I want to say. You either watch me or you don't watch me, you know? And you got to respect that,
Definitely,
you know? Like, he's not trying to get a Netflix special, you know?
He's not. Like that's what's so, I find out crazy about it. Because he's like such a... like big comedian, like he sells out rooms like all over the United States and the world.
Me and one of my good friends went to his show in Toronto, and it was sold out within a couple days. He did two. He had to extend it and do 2 shows at like a huge venue in Toronto. He's huge everywhere. He's gone to Moscow. He's gone over Europe.
Yeah, like Dropping In, for example, the show that he runs. Like he always shows his like he's got like 3-minute jokes in between, but like all he does is just goes around, eats this different food from different places, and just talks about the city that he's in. And he recently went to Russia.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite jokes when he went to Russia, it was he was like, you Russians, you don't care about anything.
Yeah.
Like when Chernobyl happened, you went there like, that's Ukraine.
Yeah.
That's not us. That's them.
Yeah.
Like that's all Ukraine. And I was like, that was the funniest because it was the truth. It was what happened, and that's what happened because like they didn't care.
That's what I mean. Like he's saying stuff they're not supposed to laugh at. Like in the 441 special, he was talking about like Mexicans stealing jobs, and he's like, how do Mexicans steal jobs? They're not stealing jobs. Like it was like, I'm not supposed to be laughing at this, but I am, because it's just like and he's smart that he walks you through it. You know,
like Mexicans don't. He's like they don't steal jobs. Like you've never seen a Mexican walking
to an Apple store. Give me the dishes, like rubber.
Give me the dishes. Yeah.
Also, like one of my
interesting concept for sure.
The other joke that I loved in this special, when he's talking about the pyramids, he's like, the Egyptians did not build the pyramids. Like you're
because
lying.
like I've seen your civilization now.
He's like, you build pyramids, and then for 1,000 years, cotton sheets. That's it. No way. You're lying. Like it was great. Like
that was a great joke. Yeah. Very funny.
Yeah, like it was good. And one thing I also wanted to talk about with Andrew Schultz, like he's kind of vulgar, but not in a terrible way, you know? Like
like he knows how to hit that likable face.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He knows how to be very, very likable, and he he approaches the audience with very like you see he respects it.
Yeah.
And also audience are very like, especially people that sit in the front, they don't sit there because they've been seated there. They want to sit in the front. Like they're like they want to get roasted. They want to get a little bit of Andrew Schultz, you know.
Yeah. Well, like now he's definitely more into the crowd work, right? Back then, like there was not only a small crowd work portion in this special, but now it's like his big thing, you know. Everywhere he goes, he'll just start roasting the crowd, right?
Yeah, like that's definitely like his thing. Like he just wants somebody to heckle him.
Yeah, and he's like I'm smarter than you. I'm wittier than you. I'll
Yeah, especially coming from New York, and like he's he needs his wit there, you know.
Yeah.
So he will use that against you.
Yeah. Well, like obviously, like the New York scene, like it's just like it's unmatched.
Dude,
you know?
I kind of want to move there.
Yeah. Like
like every time I think about it, like
Yeah.
I wanna be there, like just to go for 6 months and
yeah.
experience some of that New York scene and
Yeah. Well, like this man, like
get some pizza.
one of the best parts about this special was when he was talking about comedy in between going to the shows. Like he was in the cab and he was talking about he was like all squares are rectangle,
Yeah.
but not all rectangles are square.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's getting you so
Like,
excited.
It's
you know?
like, yeah, he was talking about, he was using an analogy about basketball.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you have like, how do you hit that? Do you hit that from the left side,
Yeah.
right side, or do you
Yeah.
hit the square? And yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
And then-
he's talking about comedy, and it's like, it's getting you excited as a comic.
Yeah.
You're like, this is like what I want to do.
He definitely inspires me as a comedian. He inspires me to write more, and he also inspires, because I host so many shows, he inspires me to do a lot of crowd work, because
Yeah.
that's like very needed, because sometimes like you can only write so much, but crowd is there, so you
Yeah.
gotta anticipate with that too.
It's tough though. Crowd work's tough. Like it's,
Crowd work is definitely tough.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
like I'm so nervous when I do it, and like
Yeah, 'cause
that's
like, how
yeah.
about if I say something stupid? Like
Yeah.
you don't want to down, like you don't want to put yourself down.
Yeah, and what if
because you're the voice of the party, you're the
Yeah.
host. You gotta.
and what if the crowd doesn't respond? What if you like? What if you try to point someone out and he just doesn't talk to you? It doesn't
Oh,
answer,
yeah.
and like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not a good responder.
There's people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do then? Like
Yeah, they probably like make fun of his clothes.
yeah, yeah. Andrew Schultz, like when he does crowd work, he doesn't rely on the crowd to say anything. Like at the beginning of the set, he just goes up. He was like, "This guy's so big. Like, do you play football? Like,
Yeah.
do you hit people just over the head?
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
Yeah, like are you from Game of Thrones? Are
Yeah.
you the giant? Yeah.
they're like rhetorical questions. Like he's
Also,
asking
like,
them not
yeah.
to answer. You know?
I also see will like push on the racial stuff too, like the color of your skin, or like
Yeah.
like he will depict that and just make kind of like some references, like where you from or something like that. Just
Yeah.
something about that country that it's so specifically known to the audience.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Anyways, out of 10, what would you rate this set?
10.
10? 10 out of 10?
I love the guy, man. He's my favorite comic right now.
I love the
He's
guy
booming.
too. 10's
and-
a big score though.
10 is a big score.
It's a big
Okay.
score?
If I'll be
Realistically.
realistically,
Because like
crowd work, 10. Material wise, maybe an 8.
maybe an 8.
So that averages to, let's say, to 9.
Okay. I really like the special a lot.
I'm bad at math too, guys.
I like the special a lot. I'll give it like an 8.5. I definitely think like it's a 20-minute special. You know, it didn't blow me away, but it was really
It was
good.
like 17.
17, yeah.
Close to 20, yeah.
It was definitely good though, and I love the production. I love the set
Yeah.
and everything. Like it was cool.
The sound was cutting off a bit, but like the at the end the microphone was the production was pretty well done, because he's got his own producer carrying around with him.
Yeah, I don't fault him for that. I'm not gonna take him off because
No.
of the production wasn't that good.
No, like it's stand up. It
It's
is what it is.
It's a
doesn't take much. It takes a camera and
Yeah, it
or a
takes-
drone, whatever you want to film with, man.
takes a crowd and a
a
microphone.
phone. You can fucking
Honestly, yeah.
you can record it. Sorry, guys. You can record it with a phone. So
Yeah, it's a crowd and a mic. Anyways, Ivan, before we head off, is there anything you want to plug for the next couple of weeks for the London comedy scene?
for London comedy scene, yeah, we actually I'm putting actually there's a show this Thursday. Ian Lynch is gonna be headlining the Rec Room 340 comedy special, which is run by Pat Tiffin, and also January 11th. We have a Saturday. I'm putting a show at the CJ Lounge. Amar Singh is gonna be in town, and first Saturday of every month we have a comedy showcase, which is run by Aaron Stevenson at the Brewery Co-op.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can check. Also, great open mics Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday that's Poacher's Arm. Tuesday that's Scott's Corner. Wednesday Fox and Fiddle.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to another episode of What's the Deal with Airline Food. Until next time, I'm Etay Kuperman.
How long was that?
That was 24 minutes.